What if every single thing that ever has, is, and will occur is a combination of one of five possibilities? Everything that ever happened to every human was either a thought, a speech, or an action. Obviously, those come from desires. But all desires are based on one of five. Basically, there's the positive state and there's the negative state. Now, this is very, very, very important to understand. The positive state is when you are seeing something good. The negative state is when you are seeing something bad, but it is not a black and white situation. There is a selfish positive state. So let's say I see a very pretty woman. Well, that might be because I'm a little horny. So that is a selfish. I'm not seeing that for her sake. I'm seeing that for my sake. Then there is the positive positive. The positive positive is where it's an act of love or an act of giving. So there is the selfish positive. It's still a kind of a happy, I'm seeing the good, but it's about me. And then there is a selfless positive. On the flip side, there is the negative state. Now, in the negative state, there are three states. There is the negative evil state, where that is when I see evil in others, and that's because I'm jealous of them. And, all the vigilantes, the anti-Semites, Hitler, he saw the evil in everyone else except for himself. The fact was that he was the biggest mass murderer in the world. So these people, they see evil in others because they're jealous of the joy and the happiness that the other people have. So if you find that your brain is, all this Black Lives Matter, it's all about seeing evil in others. If your brain is all about what's wrong with everyone else, like Obama was a good example. He was the expert on what was wrong with everyone else. Like Hitler, he knew what was wrong with everyone else. So when you think that you're the judge of the world and therefore the executioner, you should know it's only a motivation that is evil negative. Because if the person is in a positive, they're looking for that's actually what a normal person is. They're looking for their benefit. But many times the brain shrinks and we get into a state of fear, and then we get into a state of jealousy. We're like, why should you be happy when I'm miserable? So the desire is actually to make others miserable. That's why there are bullies, and everybody's been bullied. Why? Why does one kid just pick on other kids, especially somebody that nobody hurt them? I remember a bully once telling me that there was a kid, I don't know, he was hurting a little animal. So he took a brick and he smashed the kid in the face. So think about this. Now in the bully's head, he was standing up for the animal. But was he really caring about human life and compassion if he takes a brick and smashes someone in the face? No. He was jealous of the happiness that this kid had. And his brain was giving him an excuse to be destructive. So all the people that are anti-Semites and anti-Israel and anti-America, it's actually July 4th, America did more for the humanity. Besides the Jewish people, America did more for humanity than any other nation. So all this anti is because they're people that they are miserable. And as they asked Freud for the definition of an anti-Semite, he said a miserable bastard. That's really what happens. You can't blame people. I've been there myself. When we're in a state of anxiety and we're in a negative state, we begin to see what's wrong with others in order to fulfill a subconscious desire to make them as miserable as we are. So that is the negative evil state. Then there is the negative selfish state. Just like there is the positive selfish state, there's a negative selfish state. Again, you're seeing what's wrong, but you're not seeing what's wrong to attack the other person. You're seeing what's wrong for the simple reason that you're afraid. It's self-protection. And not all of that is wrong. Some of that's even common sense. Let's say you're afraid not to pay your taxes. Now, it happens to be a good thing. You should be afraid of the police. You should be afraid there should be law and order. So that fear is not a bad fear. It is a good fear. Now, obviously, if it's anxiety, if it's pulsating, that's the Hebrew. There's a word for fear called yiro, and we have a word for panic called pachad. obviously that overtakes the mind and it's a serious problem. So you want to be in a state of confidence, but you don't want to be in a state of naive that there's no consequences to your actions, right? You want to be afraid of walking across the street. Maybe you get hit by a car, God forbid. That's a very smart thing. So that is a selfish kind of normal negative. So the brain is seeing what's wrong, but it's not a bad thing. It's just a self-preservation. It's what we call fear. So one is what we would call hate. The other is what we would call fear. Then there's a positive negative. And that is that you're seeing something wrong, but you're not doing it to hurt anyone. You're doing it to help someone. So let's say you see somebody is, I don't know, being evil, and you see, hey, well, if I don't stop it, this person's going to get killed. In fact, the same Bible, the same Torah that tells us that tells us do not murder, set in stone, tells us 4 times, if you see somebody about to kill someone else, go kill them. In other words, this is a critical factor. Sometimes, I don't want to label anyone, but certain ideologies, let everybody come in. They want to ignore that there's evil. Why? Because they're afraid. They don't have any courage. But at the end of the day, like Churchill said, what happens, an appeaser, he said, is like a guy who feeds a crocodile hoping it will eat him last. You can't just ignore evil. There has to be law and order. If people want to make nukes to kill you, get rid of their nukes. You got to deal with reality. And so that is what we would call positive negative. You're still seeing negative, but it's for a positive reason. Every single human thought, speech, and action boils down to one of these 5 things. It's either a positive, a love and a kindness. It's a selfish positive, some kind of benefit for me, but still I'm seeing the good. It's a negative evil. That is, I'm seeing what's wrong with the other. They didn't do anything wrong to me, but I'm a vigilante. I got to get rid of all the evil from the world. It's really an excuse to be malicious. There is a selfish evil. I am basically kind of protecting myself, which is perfectly normal, perfectly healthy, unless it is a panic. And then you have to trust that everything God does is good and relax. And then there is a good negative, which is you're seeing what's wrong to prevent it. My friends, figure this out, because everything you do is one of these 5. Figure out who's doing this so you have clarity in life. Good luck.